I think of all the shows in the fall 2021 anime season that I'm most confused about, the show that I don't know if I like or not, the award definitely goes to Banished from the Hero's Party. This series is both intriguing but at the same time frustrating because of one simple element, the blessing. And the blessing becomes basically the curse when I'm trying to figure out really if its addition to the series helps or ruins core concepts of the show itself. But it's definitely, after 7 episodes, no denying that this seems to be a core focus of the series. It's really its driving force, which is odd because at face value, it seems like a guy leaving the hero's party and just enjoying life. But well, it doesn't seem like it's going that way. Very little of the show seems to be about his slow life. It's more about his slow life being ruined by his exciting life pulling him back out. But with that, I really want to deep dive into this concept of blessing, what it really means for the series, and my thoughts on it as an addition to the series. No matter what story you get into when it comes to fantasy or isekai, any kind of gamey type stories that have magic and all this kind of stuff, one of the core mechanics of the series always ends up being 2 elements. One being the concept of the goal, the focus, the driving force of the warrior, the title, their hero status, this concept of having this goal that they want to go towards. And on the other end, you have skills, weapon skills, magic, that kind of stuff. And what I found was interesting about Banished from the Hero's Party is it essentially takes those 2 elements and it melds them together. So if somebody is the hero, they will have skills that come with it, but also they will have a driving force. Obviously, they want to be the hero. They want to save the world. Or I guess there's some stories where the hero even says, hey, I don't want to save the world, but still, most of the time, that's their driving force. And obviously, if a person is a healer, they want to heal people, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, despite somebody being a healer and their focus is they want to heal people because they have that skill, it's never their driving force. They never have to do that. And what I found, again, interesting about Banished from the Hero's Party was so much emphasis, a lot of the emphasis of this series has been centered around the driving force of a blessing. Because again, these 2 concepts, the title, the driving force, and the skill itself is married together as one thing called a blessing. And while they do have common skills, somebody can be a fighter, they can have these weapon skills or whatever, the blessings are these incredible things that when you have it, you want to nourish it and it be your driving force because you can become stronger and you want to build it up. But again, that's when it gets into the area that I've always kind of have an inner conflict about with this story. Because as I mentioned several times before in my first impressions of the series, is I don't like how everything is excused by the blessing. And I think it's first point in the story where it kind of zones in on blessings. They have this whole story about this kid who gets bullied by this other kid. And this kid that was doing the bullying, they end up kind of figuring out that, oh yeah, he has the bar fighter blessing. Which the bar fighter is essentially they are quick to anger and they solve everything through violence. And so what the story did was really quickly establish this idea of, well, it's okay, he just has this. So his driving force, his urge is to do that. So obviously it's not his fault. And really quickly when that statement, that little explanation happened, the fear I had was, well, what does anything matter at this point? Like, it's already established at that point, well, that means probably the Demon Lord is a blessing of Demon Lord, so thus he's just being a Demon Lord. It's not as if it's his fault. It's not his desire isn't that. And what the story really quickly tries to establish is that a blessing is more than just a granting of something. When somebody gets a blessing, they're also pretty much signed up for this purpose. And that's the scary part, because it's almost as if it's kind of scary. Like, several points as I was watching the show, I'm thinking, man, this is a really screwed up world if you think about it. Because everything is about the blessing. Everybody's life and purpose and goal is the blessing. And it was funny to have this situation where Red, the main character, is explaining to a kid what a blessing is, because it seems like it's something that the kid would probably know. Like, it seems such a huge driving force. It seems like it's such an important thing about this world, because what blessing you get is your life, that they would know how it works. They would know that it gives you urges to do things. It's very scary in that sense. Like, Just think about, you're born, and then when you're like 5 or 6, your mom comes to you and says, hey, why are you doing that? You must have this blessing. You're like, what is that? Well, blessings do this, this, and this, so I guess that's what you're going to be. Like, it's decided for you. Like, if you have the carpentry blessing because you start building blocks in a really cool way, and then your mom says, oh, by the way, you must have the carpentry blessing because you really want to build something, I guess that's what you're doing for the rest of your life. It's kind of scary. Like, some other power is essentially assigning people these blessings, and that becomes their urges. Like, it's not as if it's like a thing of you've been assigned this and you can decide to become something else, and you'll just not be very good at that. It's more than that. It's a driving force. Like, they're implying that because you have this blessing, your mind will be changed. They have a particular character that's terrified of this. This little boy gets this blessing of swords or something like that, or weapon skill. And so he's got to decide which weapon he wants because he's got that blessing. And he's terrified of it. Like, he just had this experience with this bully who became bar fighter, and that kid's violent. That kid even apologized to him, says, I'm sorry I hit you, because he wants to become a guard. He wants to protect the village. But because he's got this bar fighter blessing, he has the urge to be violent to people. It's crazy. It's like, it's really is a thing of, it's fascinating, but at the same time, it's a really screwed up world in a very weird way. And this becomes even more so something that is becoming a focus slowly as the story goes along, because we're getting more insight into Rudy. Rudy is the hero of this world. She got the hero blessing. And it's almost as if the story, at the same time of showing Red dealing with the fact that people are getting blessings in this village, and there's apparently this drug that's going around that apparently gives people an additional blessing and makes them go crazy. And so you have people running everywhere attacking each other with blessings. At the same time, on the side, you're getting the story of Rudy, who is the hero. And again, you would think the hero's great. You get to be the hero of this world. Everybody will love you. But it's, again, really quickly establishing that this is a curse, in a sense. Rudy is cursed with the blessing of hero because all she can do is seek out demons, seek out the demon lord. She can't do anything else. She can't go see her brother who left the party. And this drives her, is essentially driving her crazy. Like, she has to do this, and she wants to go see her brother. And she can't. She has to focus on this. And again, it's driving her mad. And equally with that, with the hero blessing, she has essentially a lack of pain. She doesn't starve. She doesn't need sleep. All these, she claims that ailments she's immune to them. So things like being tired, any negative effect is not affecting her. So she never sleeps. She never eats. All this stuff that she doesn't need to do because she's immune to it. And it kind of is it's both alienating her from other people because she's different, obviously. But at the same time, she's lacking a lot of things that normal people need in order to be sane. Like interactions and stuff that normal people would have, she doesn't have because she's got this hero blessing. Again, it's not a blessing, it's more of a curse. And I think that's kind of a focus point of the story right now, is seeing how that downfall of Rudy's happening because, again, she has this blessing, and it's making her not do what she wants to do. And it's making her do what she doesn't want to do. And I'm not sure where they're going from here. Like I said before, they are introducing this aspect that there's this drug that's going around that essentially is adding another blessing upon people. It hasn't really established how it's playing it out currently. Obviously, it's showing that some people are going crazy and attacking people. And what I'm assuming is going to come from it is that there's going to be this person that they are distributing this drug, and this drug itself is being distributed as this, hey, you don't like the blessing that you have? Here's a drug that will give you the blessing you want. And so people are taking it, and they're going crazy. So obviously it's not working very well. It's making people, wield weapons they don't normally wield, so it technically is working, but they're also going crazy at the same time. I don't know. The show is absolutely bizarre. And again, I don't know if I like it or not, but again, that core element of the blessing versus a curse is the most interesting thing. Because like I said, if putting yourself in the shoes of these characters, it's kind of a terrifying concept. I mean, they got into Albert. Albert was this guy that got the champion blessing. So what is his driving force? He wants to overcome things and succeed and make a mark. And that's his driving force. And so again, when he is being mean and he's being brash and he's pushing people and he's not liking how everybody else is not as skilled as he is, what does Red do? He says, oh, that's because it's champion blessing. Don't be mad at him. Again, it's like, wait, this is wrong. Like, this is a very weird world because everything is, the fault of everything is the blessing. And again, I don't know if that will end up making the story, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing in the end. Because like I said, it's causing this very weird concept of this world. It's creating a weird conundrum in the world itself that everything is explained through the blessing, and that people themselves, their own driving force is not there. And so that's the issue that I have personally is I never know if a character is what they should be. I never know if a character is developing in a way or if it's just their blessing. Ares, for example, I believe he's sage. Is Ares a jerk the way he is? Is he driving people out of the party and trying to be Rudy's only guide because he's just a sage? So what is his character? His character is just a sage. He's not really Ares. Rudy, her whole driving force is that she is the hero. But who is Rudy? Is she just a sum of the blessing of the hero? In the end, will Rudy's character be, oh, well, she was the hero. She wasn't really Rudy. That's the problem I'm running into, is that anybody besides the main two characters all seem to have a lot of their decision making based on their blessing and not so much about them as a character. So the problem that comes from this whole storytelling, this whole concept of the blessing, is it's really painting it as nobody has any real character. Nobody has a driving force. Nobody has a story of their own. Their story is their blessing. So that can easily ruin the story because I don't feel like characters themselves are maturing. Characters themselves are developing. It's just the sum of their blessing. Their blessing made them do this. That's their story. Move on to the next one. And that's the scary part that I have, really. Again, Albert, his entire personality, his driving force, his character, his entire story in this show so far has been amounted to, oh, well, he's a champion. That's not much of a character. Even the bar fight kid. Technically, he attacked this one other kid. They explain the whole concept of the bar fighter. He wants to become a guard of the village. But again, it still amounts to he can't because he's got this bar fighter and he keeps attacking people rather than helping people. It creates a cool story and the idea of somebody conflicting with what their blessing is. But what has the story showed us so far? He's a bar fighter. That's it. So I don't know. We'll see if this story ends up turning into something interesting. But like I said, the core concept of the blessing is very interesting. I don't know if it's going to become something that ruins the show or makes it probably the most unique, interesting element of it. Or in the end, does it become a cross-ange? Cross-ange. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment. Let me know what you thought of this concept. Is it interesting to you? Are you liking this series? What about the blessing and curse thing? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? Let me know. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon or through our tips link in the description below. And we definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.